Geometry EOC Test Release 2025. Question 6. Walkthrough. Conditional statements.
Only 28% of students answered this question correctly. That means more than 7 out of 10 students missed it. This question falls under logic, relationships, and theorems, specifically identifying and interpreting if-then statements and writing the converse, inverse, and contrapositive. This isn't just about memorizing switch and negate. It's about understanding how logical structure works and being precise with language. As we work through this problem, pay close attention to what is being switched, what is being negated, and how each statement changes meaning. Let's break it down carefully.
Let's read question 6. A true statement is given. If two given shapes are circles, then the shapes are similar. Write the converse, inverse, and contrapositive of the given statement.
All right, let's slow this down and make this simple. A conditional statement is basically an if-then statement. It has the form P implies Q. You can read that as if P happens, then Q happens. Now here's what those letters mean. P is called the hypothesis. That's the if part. Q is called the conclusion. That's the then part. So whenever you see an if-then statement, think, if this, then that. Now, on the Geometry EOC, they like to ask about related versions of a conditional statement. There are 3 you need to know: converse, inverse, contrapositive. Here's the easy memory trick. Switch equals converse. Negate equals inverse. Switch plus negate equals contrapositive. Let's apply that. We're given this statement. If two given shapes are circles, then the shapes are similar. Let's label it. Let P. Two given shapes are circles. Q. The shapes are similar. So the original statement is P implies Q. If P, then Q. First, the converse. The converse means switch. We switch P and Q. So instead of if P, then Q, we say if Q, then P. That becomes, if the shapes are similar, then the two given shapes are circles. Symbolically, Q implies P. Just switch, nothing else. Next, the inverse. The inverse means negate both parts. Negate just means add not. So we keep the order the same, but we add not to both P and Q. Original, if P, then Q. Inverse, if not P, then not Q. So we get, if the two given shapes are not circles, then the shapes are not similar. Symbolically, not P implies not Q. We didn't switch, we only negated. Finally, the contrapositive. This is the most important one. Contrapositive means switch and negate. So first switch P and Q, then negate both. That gives us, if the shapes are not similar, then the two given shapes are not circles. Symbolically, not Q implies not P. Switch plus negate. Final answers. Converse. If the shapes are similar, then the two given shapes are circles. inverse. If the two given shapes are not circles, then the shapes are not similar. Contrapositive. If the shapes are not similar, then the two given shapes are not circles. Important strategy tip. Here's something students often forget. The contrapositive is logically equivalent to the original statement. That means it is always true if the original is true. The converse and inverse are equivalent to each other, but not necessarily to the original. That's a very common test question. If you remember, switch equals converse, negate equals inverse, switch plus negate equals contrapositive. You'll be in great shape for this type of problem.